Hey dudes and dudettes and everyone in between. The video I did yesterday, I kind of shot from the hip there, It was just emotional thought processes based on what I know. But when I did a little more research, I kind of came to the conclusion that it's the BRIC, the BRIC, Brazil, Russia, India, and China. And South America. And this grouping of countries has a very strong economic union. And they surpassed the G7 in like 2018. So if you're wondering why has the world gotten just downhill since about 2018, which is when all this weird stuff, we started kind of seeing our society have these problems. That is about the time period when the G7, which is America, Canada, and some European nations, Italy and everybody, the UK, our gross domestic product combined was surpassed by BRIC. So that I think is something I left out in yesterday's video because I hadn't really studied it. But what we're seeing is America's shifting gears to not being the big boy in town anymore when it comes to money. We still have a higher GDP. Still have the highest GDP in the world, but it's rapidly changing, and our allies combined with us versus their allies combined with them, now they have the financial upper hand. Coincidentally, those countries that have the financial upper hand tend to lean to more authoritarian dictatorships. So I think that's where my emotional concern was coming from, is I could see this shift happening where if we're going to try to keep up with, are we going to try to keep up with nobility and a democratic election system, or are we going to try to follow into the flow of the most money, which is leaning towards nations that are kind of capitalist communist hybrids with a dictatorship? See, that's what I was concerned of, and that's more factual information. I shouldn't go out there and call people psychopaths because I don't really know, but just based on the information I'm getting, it would appear as though a lot of those leaders are nuts and don't care about their citizens very much. But that doesn't necessarily mean they can't make a lot of money in their system. So that's kind of all I wanted to say about that. Do you like my shirt? Pink Floyd, another brick in the wall. Anyway, I think I'd like to point out some of the manipulations that the left-wing media has done. Because yesterday I pointed out sort of how the right is kind of manipulating the population based on patriotism. But what has the left done? Well, they've kept us in the dark. They've treated us like mushrooms, kept us in the dark, and fed us bullshit. And the truth of the matter is, we've got a tough row ahead of us to fix up for this country because we're no longer the economic big boy anymore. They didn't want to create that reality. They wanted to keep the economy sort of falsely propped up by telling everyone that, hey, inflation's not that bad. It's come down. It was at 8% at the highest, and now it's at whatever, and everything's fine, and the economy's doing good. And that's all true if you're in a big company or you're doing on the upper class kind of thing, and you've got stock investments and stuff. Yeah, that's all true for them. But for people that are working class, they couldn't the liberal media couldn't bullshit the working class on grocery prices, because how is it just a single digit inflation number when the groceries double in cost in 2 years? That's, by my watch, that's 50% per year. So when they say the inflation was low and the economy was good, not for working class people where grocery prices make a huge difference. So the liberal media bullshitted everybody and lost touch with their base. Now, old Donnie knew. He knew people were hurting, and he knew how to exploit that and get them on his side. But the thing about that is, his solutions are not, I don't think they're going to work. I'm not saying he's got all bad ideas. Sometimes he says something, I was like, oh, pretty good idea what he's got there. But like, to blame the immigrant workers, that's kind of ridiculous, man. You're saying the poorest, hardest working people are the ones causing the problem, not the billionaire class? Nobody, neither left or right wing media, brought up the fact that minimum wage hasn't changed in 15 years and it's a joke at this point. If you deported 2 million, 10 million, how many ever you want to deport of illegal immigrant workers, do you know what that would do to inflation? The cost of vegetables, all the difficult jobs in construction, that the inflation would be noticeable, I think, if you get rid of those immigrant workers. And it's kind of sad because to have, they're being exploited, but they're holding up affordable construction and groceries, I think, to a large extent from their labor. So that's a really delicate situation. If you just kick everybody out, like that's not going to help inflation. And then if you're talking about tariffs, well, everybody knows tariff is a tax, and ultimately, if you tax the foreign company says, okay, raise the cost of goods, then the goods get over here, and our companies say, oh, they're more expensive, and then they raise their prices, and who pays the final tab? Again, inflation with the consumer. So I think everybody that was thinking Trump had it solved, I think they're going to be in for a rude awakening, because our country is just going to have to work really, diligently to try to keep things functional at this point. And but yeah, don't give up hope or nothing. And I may have leaned a little too hard against Fox News and Russia yesterday, but that has been the case historically. I don't have any evidence that they're doing that at the moment, but it's kind of obvious at some point. So y'all have a good day. Bye. Oh, what about the Mike Tyson fight? Y'all gonna watch that tonight? I want to see that. That'll be interesting. Have a good one.